morning everyone, my name's Mr Coxon and you're watching newest practical science videos. Today we're going to look at how the weather, specifically rainfall, affects the germination of plant seeds. To test this, we are going to grow some seeds in various quantities of water. Equipment wise, I'm going to be using 7 150ml beakers, each with their own cotton wool pad. I have a lot of seeds, some distilled water, some measuring cylinders, and a top pound balance. So before we start our practical, what I would like you to do is have a think and predict what do you think will happen as we add more water to these seeds. To start our practical setup, I'm going to add a small cotton wool pad to the bottom of each of my 7 beakers. I've tried to keep all of the pieces of cotton wool the same size. This is really important as the larger pieces of cotton wool are going to absorb more water. So essentially this is one of our control variables. When looking at our method section, we can see that the volumes of water we need to use are 0 centimetre cubed, 1 centimetre cubed, 2, 4, 8, 16 and 32 centimetres cubed. So I'm going to label my beakers now so that I remember those for future. As we now have our 7 labelled beakers with cotton wool in the bottom, it is time for step 3. Measure the correct volume of water with a measuring cylinder and pour over the cotton wool pad in the beakers. My first beaker requires no water, so I can just put that to one side and focus on the other beakers that do require water. These first few measurements are quite small, so I'm going to be using a 5mm measuring cylinder here, and this will allow me a greater accuracy when measuring out the water. I'm also going to be using 2 different methods of measuring water. Firstly, just with a normal squeezy bottle. This is for measuring out larger volumes of water, and also I'm going to be using this small 3mm dropping pipette to ensure that I have the exact right amount of water each time. When measuring any volume of water, it's really important that you keep your equipment on a flat surface and bring yourself down to the level of the water. So the first one, I'm going for just 1mm of water. And I'm looking for the bottom of the meniscus, that's the top layer of the water, to be just touching the top of the line. And that is 1mm. And I can then go ahead and empty this into my first container. And that's the first beaker done. For the larger measurements, I'm going to have to swap to a larger measuring cylinder. So we can see here that 0 and 1 are quite dry. Very, very little water there. 8 and 16, a little damp. And 32 is swimming. Now that we've added the water, it's time to add our seeds. So instead of measuring out 20 seeds into each individual one, which would have taken a very, very long time, we are going to use a top pan balance instead to weigh our seeds. It's going to be a quicker process. Our top pan balance is currently on 0, and I'm going to add enough seeds to make it to 0.2 grams. Seems like we've gone 0.1 of a gram over there, so I'm going to just remove 1. Fantastic, 0.2 grams. Now I can add 0.2 grams. I can then add 0.2 grams of seeds to each one of my beakers. Covering the top of these beakers in cling film is really important to prevent any moisture in the air affecting our results and any water in the bottom of our beakers escaping. We can now put our finished and covered samples on the windowsill to germinate. Okay, day 1, let's have a check on our seeds. I've arranged these so we've got 0 ml of water here, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and finally 32 ml of water. As you can see, so far, not a lot has happened. Although we do appear to have 1 from the 8 mils of water growing here. So this one is starting to germinate. other than that, as of yet, no germination. So I'm going to cover these back up again, pop them back on the windowsill, and we'll see how they do in a few more days. It's now been 4 days, and again, I've taken the cling film off, and we can have a little check and see how our plants are doing. We can clearly see that at 0 and 1 ml of water, we have no growth at all. At 2 and 4 mils, we're starting to see a little bit more growth here. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 germinating seeds. Lift that up so you can have a better look. At 4 mil, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 germinating seeds. Now we can clearly see at 8 mils, there's a lot more going on. There's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 seeds there I can see germinating. Interestingly, moving on from our 8 ml of water to our 16 ml of water, we can see a noticeable decline in the rate of germination. Here we only have 2, 3, 4 individuals, potentially a fifth in this corner, which are germinating. And finally, in 32 mils of water, we can see very, very little is going on there. I can't actually see a single seed that has started to germinate from this. Right, I'm going to leave these seeds one more day and we'll see if we can get any of these ones in the 32 or from the 0 or 1 ml of water to germinate. Our seeds have now been left on the windowsill for 4 days to see if they germinate. What I would like to do is, when I go through the results, make sure that you're writing them down in a suitable table. Just as a reminder, we have 0 ml of water here, then 1, 2, 4 ml of water, 8 mils of water, 16 mils of water, and finally 32 mils of water. Again, we have very little in 0 with no seeds germinating. There are, in fact, in 1 ml of water, 1, 2, 3 seeds that just started to germinate there. In 2 ml of water, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 seeds have started to germinate. Interestingly, not only do we have seeds germinating, but here in 4 ml of water, we have quite a lot of plant growth. At 8 ml, we can see we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 full plants growing here. At 16, we finally managed to get 1, 2, 3 plants to germinate. And at 32 mil, you can see that we still have no growth. To finish up our practical, we need to do some analysis. What you need to do is take the numbers from your table and calculate the percentage of successful germination. To do this, all you need to do is divide the number of seeds that have germinated by the total number of seeds in the beaker. And remember, we are taking this number as 20. Once you've done that, we can then times by 100 to get a percentage. And finally, you need to plot a suitable graph or chart of your percentage germination rates. Given your results, can you tell me how much rainfall is the most beneficial for the germination rate of plants? Were your initial predictions correct? Is more water always beneficial for plant germination? Have a look at your results and see if you can tell me what the optimum millilitres of rainfall would be for the greatest percentage of successful germination. Today we've learned how the volume of rainfall affects the germination rate of seeds, and that more water does not always equal better growth. Thank you for watching this episode of NIOAS Practical Science. I am Mr Coxon and I will see you all next time. Thanks guys.